so much, Audrey, for introducing me and also creating a space that truly made me the woman I am today. I feel a bit like I learned how to be a person at the Wing, and I wouldn't be standing here today without it. Firstly, I want to say a ridiculous thank you so much to Gucci, CHIME for Change, and Equality Now. Pretty much my three favorite things in the world are using the law to create social change, brands who use their power for good, and suits that make me look like a slightly insane grandmother. So this is essentially my perfect night. I know this isn't at all feminist or empowered to say, but I have a huge amount of imposter syndrome standing here. Mostly because I really feel like my role in the feminist movement is lifting up other activists and creating paths for other young women to discover their own feminism and their own power to make change. There's very little I can say or make a point of that won't be articulated better later tonight, but I do just want to take this moment to say one thing, which is a personal thank you to every single woman in this room for creating, upholding, and nurturing a global feminist movement, which has turned out to be the best thing in my life and also the thing that saved my life. This story starts off really sad, but I promise it gets happier. 5 years ago, I was 19 and living in this city just a few blocks down the road. I had spent my teenage years suffering all kinds of pain and gaslighting, and in the way that abuse so often does, my mind and sense of self had been completely eroded. At 19, I decided I was done with trying to get better, and on a cold January night, I tried to take my own life. It didn't work, clearly, but 3 weeks later, I saw a poster on Instagram for a feminist resistance meeting in Harlem. I hadn't properly left my apartment in weeks, but I decided I had literally nothing to lose by showing up. What I discovered in that room and in the many, many rooms I've been lucky enough to be invited into since was something I wanted to get better for. I had found this thing called feminism, and while I was no longer that interested in staying alive anymore, I became interested in sticking around for the sole purpose of joining this movement. For the first time in a really long time, I felt like I was a part of something, a part of this thing, this collective thing, this movement that didn't really have anything to do with me, that didn't really care all that much about middle-class white girls, but was all about joining together with all the other people on this planet to make our world a better place for women and men. We're living through a time where everything feels really dark and really hard. We receive so much evidence every single day that human beings are fundamentally selfish and self-serving, and it can feel like the fight for equality is a miserable, painful, uphill battle. But when I look at my generation, like the three girls that just performed, when I look at the hundreds of teenage activists I've been able to work with, and when I look around this room, I see a group of people who are motivated by a collective identity and a collective understanding that to be human is to be a single dot in the web of women and men who all possess the fundamental freedoms of humanity. People like to call my generation selfish, which I think is in some ways fair, and some ways very unfair. But I do feel like I am incredibly selfish. I am selfishly a feminist because feminism gave me a reason to stay alive, and it's brought me more joy and friendship than anything else in this world. All of this is just to say thank you to every person who makes this movement what it is. A lot of our work is hard, but a lot of it is also incredibly beautiful. I realized recently that no one ever says, I used to be a feminist, but I changed my mind. So I promise to use this incredible honor to try and convince as many people as possible to join us, fight for us, and never look back. Thank you so much.